Hello, BookTube. I've got a fun tag for you today. This is the TBR Tough Choices tag, or it's also known as Gunfight at the BookTube Corral. This was created by Mike at Riffraff Reading, and this is pretty much like a TBR tag. It's pretty much I present you with 26 pairs of books A to Z and they're classics, so it's a bit fun. You're only allowed to choose one book from each pair. If you haven't read them, pass or substitute your own. And so with that, you'll create like a TBR or whatever. And there are some books I haven't read in here, I know. And it's so fun. And I love a good classics tag. It makes me think. And I have opinions on some of these, but let's get started. A is for Ancient Assault, Virgil's Aeneid versus Ovid's Metamorphoses. Now, I haven't read Virgil. He's like the one ancient Roman poet I haven't gone to yet. I know he's like the most famous one. I've read the majority of them, at least the ones I can find. I guess I have to say Ovid. I've read the Metamorphoses twice. I love it. It's worth its hype. It's amazing. And so I guess I have to say Ovid, but again, I haven't read Virgil. So maybe I'd be a Virgil girly, but who knows. B is for Big Girl Battle. Vanity Fair first Middlemarch. I haven't read Vanity Fair. It's like one of the big Victorian books I haven't gotten to yet. I wanted to do it in Victoria, but I just didn't get around to it. And I love Middlemarch. It's one of my favorite books ever. So I guess I have to say Middlemarch and Dorothy Brooke, but that's because I haven't read Vanity Fair. I literally couldn't tell you what it's about, to be honest. C is for Cormac's Clash, The Road vs. Blood Meridian. Neither. I hate Cormac McCarthy so much. I couldn't even get through The Road. It's so short, but it's like so painful. It's so underwritten, and it's actually horrifying how bad that book is. I couldn't even get through it. My friend read it and she told me what happened, and I just can't get through it. Same as Blood Meridian. I think it is technically the better novel, but it's not worth reading at all. Give it a skip. I'm leaving these. They don't deserve to be picked up. D is for Dostoevsky's Duel. The brothers Karamazov versus Crime and Punishment. And I'm going to say Crime and Punishment. I reread it this year. I've read The Brothers Karamazov once before. It was many, many years ago. And I think it's very much The Brothers, what was I going to say? Crime Punishment is more like action-packed. Like there's a lot, it's more contained in itself, where The Brothers K is so much more sprawling and a lot more, there's a lot of deep dude bro pondering, but it's not that bad. I like The Brothers K. I think it's worth its hype. I love what Dostoevsky has to say, what he's thinking about. I love all that stuff. I love the plot. I love the pace of it. I love how slow it is. But for me, if I'm going to pick one, I'm just going to do Crime Punishment. It's just, straight to the point. It doesn't meander as much. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say. E is for Epic Engagement. East of Eden vs. Lonesome Dove. I haven't read any of these two yet. I like John Steinbeck. I've done a lot of his nonfiction and shorter works. I've never read any Larry McMurtry. I've never found him anywhere. And maybe I need to bite the bullet and get him secondhand, like online or whatever. But I couldn't tell you what East of Eden is about. I know. And I haven't read Grapes of Wrath. And I've never read Larry McMurtry. I've never seen him anywhere. And so if I had to pick the one, I think I'd pick Lonesome Dove, just going off vibes. But yeah, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. F is for Futuristic Firefight. Fahrenheit 451 vs. Brave New World. Now, I'm not a big fan of either of these books, I'm being honest. They're a bit too on the nose for me. I will say I do like Fahrenheit more than Brave New World. I think Fahrenheit is a bit more subtle in terms of what's going on, even though I really don't like the ending. I think it's not that good. Where Brave New World, I kind of go meh. I'm just not a dystopian girly at the end of the day. I've tried, but yeah. G is for Girlpower Grapple. Little Women vs. Anne of Green Gables. I've never read any of these two. I've heard of Little Women. I know of Anne of Green Gables. I didn't grow up reading them. I literally couldn't even tell you what any of them's about, to be honest. Like, I just know they exist. And I think I'd just pick Little Women because I don't know, just pick that one. H is for Homeric Hostilities, the Iliad versus the Odyssey, and I've always been Team Iliad. I think the Iliad has a lot more going on in terms of themes and just some. I think there are some scenes in Iliad that stand out so much it knocks the Odyssey out of the way in terms of like Hector's death, and I could keep going on, but that's like my favorite part. But I love the Odyssey. I'm not an Odyssey hater at all. I love it to death. I just think the Iliad does a lot more with even though we don't even have the complete Iliad, which is amazing, which is sad actually, not amazing. I don't know what I'm saying. But I would say I prefer the Iliad, but I am due for a reread because I have so many translations I just haven't gotten to yet, and I need to do that eventually. But I love the Odyssey. I'm not an Odyssey hater. I just personally prefer the Iliad. Um, J is for Journeying Junket. Tom Jones vs. Gulliver's Travels. I love Tom Jones. I think it's worth its hype if you haven't read it. I have always really loved Gulliver's Travels for some reason. And it stands out so much when you put it in its context. Like you compare it to like your Defoe's and like Samuel Richardson's. Gulliver's Travels like weirdly stands out, and I've always appreciated that. It's so weird at times, all of the places he travels, and I think it was very much ahead of its time, and you can see how it influenced people like Stevenson and like a lot of the adventure writers of the 1800s. I think it was really interesting too. I'm gonna say Gulliver's Travels because I think most people will pick Tom Jones, but I'm gonna stick up for Gulliver's Travels. But I do get how people prefer Tom Jones more. K is for Copycat Knockdown. Demon Copperhead by King Slover versus James by Percival Everett. I haven't read any of these. I don't know what Demon Copperhead is about. I've read Percival Everett before, and I really do appreciate him. So I'm gonna say, James, because I know that's the one. It's like his version of like Huckleberry Finn, or it's like a retelling or whatever. I'm more likely to pick that one up because I think it's Demon Copperhead's obviously a bit based on David Copperfield, and I would rather read anything else besides David Copperfield, to be honest. I don't like that at all. So I'm going to say James by Percival Everett for this one. L is for Legal Last Stand. To Kill a Mockingbird versus Bleak House. Now, I have read both of these books this year. Last month, for when Harper Lee's estate released that collection, I reread To Kill a Mockingbird last month, and I read Bleak House sometime early this year, so I could do my Dickens ranked or whatever. And I love both these books, to be honest. In terms of legal representation, and in terms of that, I will say I prefer To Kill a Mockingbird. It's more straight to the point. It's there's a lot more, I think, twists and turns in terms of the courtroom drama. I do prefer over Bleak House, even though it is, in my opinion, Dickens' best book. I appreciate and I love both of them, but if for a legal representation, I will pick To Kill a Mockingbird. M is for Middle Ages Malaise. Canterbury Tales vs. Decameron. I read both of these. In saying that, I haven't read the original Canterbury Tales. I've read the modern English translation, so I do eventually want to do the original. I can do that. It's on my shelf. And I love the Decameron. It's incredible. What do you want me to say? If I had to pick between the two, I'd actually pick the Decameron, if I'm being honest. I think it's a lot more funner, a lot more sprawling. It's longer too. And yeah, I'm just going to pick the Decameron for that. No shade to the Canterbury Tales, but the Decameron I personally like a bit more. N is for non-fiction nemesis, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich versus Ian Kershaw's Hitler. I haven't read any of these two. I'm not the biggest World War II girly out there. If I had to pick the one, I would pick The Rise and Fall because I'm just not interested in Hitler biographies. They've never been my thing, and I know I'm very much due to actually read The Rise and Fall because I haven't read it. But everyone has that big chunky hardcover of it, and I feel like I'm missing out. So one day, if I see it anywhere, I will pick it up. But yeah, I haven't read any of those two, so yeah, I can't say anything much about it. O is for Orwell's Offense. Animal Farm vs. 1984. None. I don't like them much at all. I think if I had to pick from those two, because my natural instinct with Orwell would be to go straight to his nonfiction. His the book wrote what he wrote when he was in London, I think, was really good, and his essays compared to his fiction. But if I had to pick, I I cringe more at 1984, but I think Animal Farm for me is so on the nose and so just I can't explain it. I'm just so sick of it. I don't care. I will say Animal Farm because it is a lot shorter than 1984, and I don't want to sit through 1984 again. But no, because I'm stuck because there's some points in 1984 where I do think I would prefer to Animal Farm. It's like a novel, but I will say Animal Farm because it is shorter. But I don't know. I'm just gonna say Animal Farm. I don't like those two books that much. P is for Paradise Punch Up, The Divine Comedy versus Paradise Lost, and I haven't read The Divine Comedy in full yet, so I've only read Inferno. I'm one of those people, I know. In terms of that or Paradise Lost, the English nerd in me is telling me to stick to Paradise Lost, but I'm actually going to pick Dante. And because it's just more funner, I feel like. Dante goes on his travels. I love his relationship with Virgil. No shade towards Paradise Lost. It's iconic, but even compared to, I think, the other great English writers like your Sidneys or your Edmund Spencers or Billy Shakes, I love Milton, but he's not on that same level for me. Even I do really appreciate what he done and all that. Where The Divine Comedy is, one of the most famous books ever and a lot more influential, I think, than Paradise. And so I'm just gonna stick with Divine Comedy. In preference, I haven't read all of it, so yeah. Q is for Coral of the Quest, Don Quixote versus Moby Dick. This is so hard to pick. These are literally two of my favorite books ever. I think I'm gonna have to pick Moby Dick because it is so much more weird. It is so experimental, and I think it pulls it off so well. That's not to say that Cervantes, what he was doing in the early 1600s, isn't game changing. Like the way Cervantes really introduced satire and a lot of that elements of writing, which it's scary to see how ahead of his time he was. With Moby Dick, I think Melville just does it so flawlessly. It is scary. So, and I love Moby Dick. It's honestly my favorite book ever. So I'm going to say that one. R is for Rumble of the Reds, the Red and the Black versus the Red Badge of Courage. I haven't read the Red Badge of Courage. I always really did like Starntale, so I'm gonna say the Red and the Black. I've read the Red and the Black. I've read Love, that collection or whatever, and I haven't read the Charterhouse of Parma yet. That's like the one I'm holding off because I don't know why. I don't want to be done with him, at least what I can find. But I do love the Red and the Black, and I think it's worth its hype. S is for Salmain Showdown, Midnight's Children versus the Satanic Verses. I haven't read any of these. I've heard of them, but I can't. I'm not gonna toss my hat in the ring. T is for Tolstoy's Throwdown, Anna Karenina versus War and Peace. Now I'm a bit biased. I did reread War and Peace this year. I done the Constance Garnett, which I really loved her translation. And if I had to pick between the two, I'm a War and Peace girly. I love Anna. I think Anna is the more. It's kind of like the whole Iliad versus Odyssey, or I already forgot the other one. The oh my god, what was it? I'm so sorry. Or the Crime Punishment versus Brothers K. That's it. In terms of, you got the big epic novel that's the whole world in and of itself, and then you got the more straight ahead novel, and that's what I feel like is between Anna and War and Peace. I think I prefer War and Peace as a whole, and it's just more of an accomplishment for me than Anna. I do adore Anna Karenina, but I think, and there are some scenes that I think really rival War and Peace in certain bits of Anna Karenina. But if I had to pick between the two, I am picking up War and Peace, but that is not a mark against Anna Karenina at all. It's incredible. U is for Unseen Upheaval, Beloved versus the Wide Sargasso Sea. I haven't read the Wide Sargasso Sea. And is that like a retelling of Jane Eyre? I think. Oh, I don't know if I'm right. I don't mind Beloved. I think it's fine. I think it is a bit dramatic in some points, which I think in a way I love Morrison, don't get me wrong. I love Song of Solomon. But for me, Beloved, there are some moments where it kind of feels a bit over the top in terms of the way Morrison explains abuse and all that, the prejudice and all that. So it's a bit top heavy for me. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to say Beloved, but again, I haven't read The White Scar, so see yet. V is for Virginia's Volley, To the Lighthouse versus Orlando. I love Orlando, so I'm gonna pick that one. It's one of the great books about reading. I think it's got it's not her most experimental book, but I think in terms of her fiction, it has her loveliest prose, and it's such a charming little book, and I love it to death. W is for Wharton's Warfare, The House of Mirth versus The Age of Innocence. Now this is tough. I love Edith Wharton. So, I'm going to say The House of Mirth, to be honest. I think it does a lot more. It's more subtle in terms of it's more challenging, I think, compared to The Age of Innocence. And I love The Age of Innocence. But for me, House on the Mirth clears easily. X is for X-rated exposure. Lolita versus Lady Chatterley's Lover. None. I don't like T.H. Lawrence. I don't get why he's a classic, to be honest. Where I think Nabokov was at least talented, even though I've never read anything I really liked by him. I've done Lolita and Pale Fire, and I can't remember what else I've done. I've probably done some essays or whatever. And I could see a great author in there, but he just doesn't do it for me. And I don't know if it's me not missing out or whatever. I don't get it, Nabokov. So if I had to pick, I guess I'd pick Lolita, but I really just unhauled it like a couple months ago. But I hate Lady Chatterley's Lover. I think it's a genuinely bad book. I hate the writing. The characters are so forgettable and stiff, and Lawrence as a writer is just not for me at all. I've never liked him. Where, again, Nabokov has those moments. So I'm like, I could see a great writer in there somewhere. But so I guess I'd have to say Lolita. But that's because I think Nabokov was the better writer. But again, that's not based on morals. That's a bad question. I don't like that one. Again, I don't want to talk about James Lawrence. He sucks. Y is for young adult yard fight. My Dark Vanessa versus My Absolute Darling. I haven't read those two, so I don't know. Z is for Zombie Zapper. Dracula versus Frankenstein. Now, I have gone on the record saying I am a Frankenstein girly. I've read it so many times. Both editions, the 1818 original and the later revised. So I know I've read Dracula so many times too. If I had to pick the one, I actually pick Dracula. I think it's more funner. I think it's more engaging. I love Mary Shelley. I'm one of those weird people that love The Last Man, which is her doing like a post-apocalyptic book. I love her other historical fiction I really enjoy, compared to Dracula though, I think Dracula is just more fun. It's a shame Bram couldn't write anything else as good as Dracula. So I will say Dracula because I think it's a bit funner. Honorable mentions. There's some more. Historical Havoc. Anne Frank versus The Man's Search for Meaning. I haven't read The Man's Search for Meaning, so I'm gonna say Anne Frank, and I do like that. Her diaries. It's a bit, I love it. I think it's really good. Next, Fitzgerald's Fight. Great Gatsby versus Tender is the Night. Ooh, I've never been the biggest Great Gatsby person. I don't know if it's because like it's a cultural thing, not being American. I feel like it kind of is with certain bits of the Great Gatsby, where Tender is the Night. It wouldn't be my favorite F. Scott book. I would say I do prefer The Beautiful and the Damned as my favorite, but I would pick Tender as the Night over Great Gatsby. I think there's a lot more going on. But yeah, I've never been the biggest F. Scott girly. Then last one, Swashbuckling Sword Fight. The Count of Monte Cristo versus the Three Musketeers. Ooh, I read all of the Musketeers books this year. All of them. They were so big. If I had to pick, I think it's kind of one of those things where you have like the world unto itself in one book, then you have just a great straight ahead novel, and I'm actually going to pick The Three Musketeers. I think it's a lot more controlled, And I love the Count of Monte Cristo. I think it's an amazing book, but there are some subplots in there that don't need to be there. You can tell it's a bit of a serialization type of thing, and Dumas wanting to make as much money as he could, and why not? But like, I think the Three Musketeers is just so direct and so fun, and it just gets straight to the point where the Count really does meander, especially towards like the quarter third. It really starts to meander, but that's not to say the actual book itself is bad. It's one of my favorite books ever. I love it so much. But The Three Musketeers, I think, clears. It's just a great novel, and that is the tag. I'm gonna tag. I'm gonna list a lot of channels below. If just do this. This is such a fun tag. I love this or that, and with classics too, it's just I had to do it. It's so fun. So yeah, thank you, Mike, for creating this tag, and thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.